What are the things that people are ashamed of, but shouldn't be ashamed of? I read about this in another AskReddit post, but apparently people who are choking on food don't like to admit this. For example, in a restaurant, when a person notices they are choking on a food, they just go to the bathroom and try to survive on their own, and actually quite many people die because of this. When I was with my friends celebrating one's birthday, I choked at a pizza palace, and her mom had to give me the Heimlich, and it caused me to vomit on the table. I ran to the bathroom and cried in there for 30 minutes, until my friends came to check up on me. Admitting to being wrong. I'm teaching my kids that owning up to mistakes and saying you're sorry is what makes you a grown-up. This also shows them that some old people never grew up. I therefore always tell them when I was wrong and apologize to them when that happens. Sorry I accused you of making a mess outside. I just found out it was the kid next door. I was wrong and I feel bad about it. Admit that they failed. Everyone has failed in their life at least once. Nobody is perfect and you don't need to be ashamed of it. It's human. The problem is that I can't stop. You really are some trite, aren't you? Learning from your mistakes only keeps you from making the same mistake twice. But there are so many ways to fail that in my experience, it's effectively worthless. Most people try all their lives for anything, but we only have a window of a few decades to achieve it. Don't make it in time? Too bad. Failure is not needed to learn, and it never was. I don't know where this hot happy horse dung came from, but it's just plain not true, and it never was. But you tried means absolutely nothing, and I don't know a single human being who never tried anything. Failure just means that you failed. End of story. An F on a report card does not mean you learned, it means you messed up. If this garbage is really the best advice you can give, I'm probably quitting Reddit. Walking into a store and not buying anything. I can't stand walking into a small independent shop where the owner says hi and then not finding anything. Being unable to sneak past them on the way out without acknowledging their presence. We had a moment, you and I, a connection, where you implored me to support your small business, and I rejected you and your wares. Curse you, instigator of unnecessary guilt. Exercising around other people. It's easy to feel ashamed of your own weight, strength, etc. when exercising around others that already have the body image you're striving for. I find myself unable to exercise around other people because I breathe loud and heavy and I think it's gross. And I don't want people to be like, this guy is dying from a light jog. A disability. I'm epileptic. I've got no personal issues with it except for the obvious. People seem to act differently when hearing it though, and that can suck. I had a broken molar one time a few years back and couldn't find a dentist willing to do the work to fix it, as I've had 5 or 6 seizures one day supposedly caused by dental work years ago. It took nearly 2 years of living with a broken molar and a bit of a breakdown at the receptionist for anything to happen. Bosses and co-workers seem to act differently too, but usually with the intent to come off more caring. Usually makes things awkward. Not knowing something. People shouldn't shame others for their lack of knowledge. Absolutely no one knows everything. Looking at you, Reddit. For real. You can post a thesis level essay on a topic you know everything about, but you mess up one minute detail and it's 50 people telling you you're an idiot. Not being good at something that they just started to learn. Their laugh. It's so sad when someone hates their own laugh. I hate hearing my own voice in general. Every time I hear it on a recording, I cringe. I think most people do. It sounds more high-pitched and thin, like my little kids, and kind of nasally. My voice does not sound like this to my own ears, but when it's on tape, it sounds awful. Using the bathroom at someone's house or a public place. It shouldn't be embarrassing at all. Just do what you need to do. I've seen people make themselves miserable just to avoid using the bathroom. I was never embarrassed to go to the bathroom at someone's house until sometime in junior high I had to go to a friend's house and dropped a load. Didn't think anything of it. I had a big family and nobody ever cared if you left the bathroom stinky because it's just a fact of life. Especially if 8 people are sharing the same bathroom in one house. Well, a few minutes later, her mom walks into the bathroom and makes a huge deal about how stinky it was in there and how you should spray perfume as a courtesy and yada yada yada. I'm sure she thought it was one of her kids and didn't mean to be malicious. But yeah. I've never pooped at someone's house again unless I can confirm they have air freshener and the bathroom is far away from where people are congregated. Wearing hand-me-down clothes that don't fit quite right because they can't afford anything new. I only have a few t-shirts for going out and my friends notice I'm always wearing the same thing. Same, I'm a woman and the whole buy a new outfit for going out thing gets old fast. I like the shirt and I'm going to get my money's worth. Liking absolutely anything that they like. Flowers, wrestling, kung fu movies, cooking, collecting toilet seats, avocado toast, Bud Light, Michael Bay movies, crying, handlebar mustaches, hairy men, podcasts, fried chicken, exercise, heavy metal, scallions, The Irishman. Just like what you like and own it. Blemishes and pimples that no one notices but themselves. Until you get that one arsehole that asked what happened to your face, like she or he doesn't already know. Admitting you can't do something that others find really easy to do. No matter what you do, you will always find an expert who can do it better than you. Stephen Hawking was the only exception. Being a certain age and not being married. Having a degree or anything that people have associated with a certain age. Definitely. I just turned 35, I'm single, no kids, and just completed my first diploma, which I combined with a certificate and did in less than a year. I tried to do tertiary education after leaving high school, but it was all geared towards getting a job and it didn't interest me at the time. As an adult, with some experience behind me, I'm appreciating my study more now, since some of what it has directly correlation to work I've done, while setting me up to switch career tracks. And some of it is simple for the pleasure of learning. When I was younger, I wouldn't have been able to afford to study something that had no guarantee of a job prospect while putting me into massive debt just for the pleasure of studying something that interests me. Now, in the golden age of internet availability, I can study it at a much cheaper price and all without leaving the house. Their own artwork. People don't just pick up a paintbrush and start painting masterpieces. Everyone's art starts out rough. The only reason someone isn't very good is because they just haven't had the practice to refine their work. Working low-wage jobs. No one should feel bad for what they do. We are all just trying to get by. Thank you for this. Yesterday, someone talked down to me about how much I make. I was bummed about it for the rest of the day. Being the victim of sexual abuse. I was going to comment on this too. There is so much shame involved, and discussing sexual abuse is taboo in so many cultures and families. The thing is, not talking about it continues the cycle of shame, and often prevents the victim from coming to terms and healing. It is so common, and yet, like miscarriage, we don't know how common it is. Almost every victim feels like they are the only ones or they are alone. Not being happy 24/7. Good, positive vibes only has got to be the lowest vibrational nonsense mantra. New Age spiritualism has turned the phrase into propaganda made to convince folks that if they feel anything but a stream of constant joy and happiness, that there must be something inherently wrong with them. I no longer believe there are good or bad emotions. They just are. It's a range. Tipping the scale one way or the other is toxic. Those advocating the slogan fail to comprehend acknowledgement and acceptance of all emotions is the ticket. Being lazy after a hard day of work. We've all been there, had a super hard day, get home, house needs cleaned, dinner needs made. Instead we order pizza and chill because we deserve it once in a while. Not once in a while, often. That's not lazy, that's just called rest. Going to therapy. I was in therapy for more than 10 years. My ex-husband was abusive and a pedophile. I'm not ashamed of trying to fix my brain into understanding that he will not come and kill me. Therapy can do amazing things for you, and no one who has been through therapy should be ashamed. Usually, the shamers need therapy the most.